Greetings all. So today I'll be presenting my project, which is entitled The Effect of Endogenous and Exogenous Female Sex Hormone Levels on the Human Immunodeficiency Type 1 Subtype C Latent Reservoir Reactivation. My name is Mamokoena. Sub-Saharan Africa bears the brunt of the HIV pandemic. Of the people living with HIV, the majority resides in Sub-Saharan Africa. The UNAIDS report estimated that 67% of all people living with HIV in Sub-Saharan Africa were females, that 63% of all new infections in Sub-Saharan Africa were made up of females, and that females accounted for 50% of AIDS-related deaths in Sub-Saharan Africa. HIV affects females at greater extents than it does males. Antiretroviral therapy has significantly transformed HIV infection from a terminal illness to a chronic manageable disease. CART is able to reduce viremia to levels below the limit of detection, however, it is not curative. Upon CART cessation, viremia rebounds, and this is due to the presence of transcriptionally silent but replication competent viruses in long-lived cells. The latent reservoir is the major drawback to developing an HIV cure. However, the size of the latent reservoir is different between males and females. Females showed a trend towards a higher total reservoir size, and this is shown in figure A. Intriguingly, this reservoir size was less reactivatable, as shown in figure B. The reason to this remains unknown. However, what we do know is that there are anatomic, immune cell phenotype, latency maintenance, and microbiome population differences in men and women. In the anatomic sites, the acquisition sites in women are different to those that are found in men. Genetic differences due to the possible overexpression of X-encoded genes, and this was observed with girls having lower plasma viral loads than boys, even prior to the onset of puberty. Immune cell types may differ in men and women. Estrogen's ability to block HIV transcription activation and the composition of the microbiome all play a role in these gender-specific differences observed between females and males. Estrogen has been implicated in immune cell function with varying effects on different cell types. Estrogen plays an important role in modulating the immune response. Therefore, this leads me to the aim of my study, which is to determine the effect of endogenous and exogenous female sex hormone levels on the reservoir size and reactivation potential in women living with HIV who are on fully suppressive CART in South Africa. We hypothesized that high levels of endogenous or exogenous female sex hormone levels may affect the reservoir size and the reactivation potential in women on fully suppressive CART in South Africa. The study is broken down into two goals. Goal 1 is to characterize the expression profile of estrogen receptor 1 in women living with HIV who are on fully suppressive CART in South Africa. So objective 1 to achieve this goal is to determine the estrogen mRNA receptor 1 expression levels on CD4 T cells from women in South Africa. 2, to determine the levels of sex hormones in plasma. 3, to correlate the mRNA expression levels with hormone levels. For the cohort characteristics, two cohorts were used, namely the fresh and the HPP acute infection cohort. The participants were either late treated or early treated. The late treated participants remained untreated for at least 1 year to which they started CART, and the early treated participants were treated within a median of 1 day. The methods will be presented together with the results. CD4 T cells were isolated from previously frozen PBMCs, to which RNA and DNA was extracted. From the total RNA, it was DNA treated, cDNA was synthesized, and qPCR was run using the light cycler 480 using cybergreen chemistry. mRNA expression remained unchanged over time in both the late treated and the early treated participants. However, what needs to be noted is that mRNA expression was heterogeneous over time. ELISA was used to determine hormone estradiol levels in plasma. In the late treated participants, which is A, the plasma E2 levels were significantly higher at 1 year post-infection than in acute infection, and there was no difference between 1 year post-infection and 2 years post-successful cut. While in the early treated participants, which is B, there was no difference in plasma E2 levels longitudinally. However, what is evident is that the plasma E2 levels were differential over time. We then wanted to see whether the estrogen receptor 1 mRNA expression levels would correlate with the plasma E2 levels. We see a slight positive correlation of mRNA expression with E2 levels, and more data is still being analyzed. Goal 2 of the study is to characterize the viral reservoir in women living with HIV who are on fully suppressive cut in South Africa. So objective 1 for this goal is to assess whether the latent reservoir was inducible using tilde. 2 is to correlate the inducible reservoir with hormone levels and mRNA expression levels. And 3, it is to correlate the hormone levels with HIV DNA. The inducible reservoir was quantified in stimulated CD4 T cells using qPCR, and the frequency of cells expressing multiply spliced TET-Rev mRNA were determined using the IUPM Stats online software, which uses maximum likelihood statistics. We wanted to determine whether the inducible reservoir would be different between females and males. The diagram shows that females had significantly higher inducible reservoir sizes compared to males. We then wanted to assess the relationship between the estrogen receptor 1 mRNA expression levels and plasma hormone levels with the reservoir size. We saw a trend towards a positive correlation for both mRNA expression and the plasma estradiol levels with the reservoir size, although it didn't reach significance. So a summary of the results is that there was no difference in estrogen receptor 1 mRNA expression levels longitudinally, and that we saw increased E2 levels by 1 year post-infection for the late treated participants. We also saw a trend towards a positive correlation between estrogen receptor 1 mRNA expression levels with the plasma E2 levels, and that women had a significantly higher inducible reservoir compared to males, and the inducible reservoir showed a trend towards a positive correlation with both estrogen receptor 1 mRNA expression levels and the plasma E2 levels. So going forward, which is like future work, we would like to obtain samples from postmenopausal women and just correlate the expression levels, the hormone levels in plasma, and the reservoir size. And that will be used to make comparison between the premenopausal and the postmenopausal women. I would like to acknowledge my supervisor, my group mates, our collaborators, and the HPP director, together with the following organizations, and especially MRC for the funding. Thank you.